Now, I've been asked a lot about Paul Levesque's answers from the Royal Rumble Media Scrum last weekend. I didn't have a chance to address it on the show. I did tweet about it. He had to know. He had to know that those questions were coming about the Vince allegations, and he could not have handled it any worse than he did. It was almost impressively bad the way that he answered those questions. And when you compare it to the way that Cody Rhodes handled the question just before he came out, because Cody came out first to address the media, and then Triple H came after him, Cody did a much better job. It's a dark cloud, and he said that TKO and Nick Khan and the board took it seriously, and they acted immediately. And he admitted, look, I don't have a good answer for this question. But from a roster standpoint, he says he's never seen a roster more like a family than this one. Because they're very team-based. They look out for each other. Until Dwayne comes in. But that's a different story. But he said he tried to give the fans something that weekend that wasn't a terrible situation, and he thinks they were able to do that. But as more news comes out, they'll be seeing it just like all of us will. Dare I say, the man sounded like an EVP up there. Triple H could learn a few things from the way that Cody responded to a question that I can believe, he more so than Triple H, may not have been expecting. But I thought he handled it well. In response to John Alba's question about McMahon's return to the board in January of last year and what degree of knowledge the board had about the allegations and how it would potentially impact sponsorships going forward, Levesque said, I'm going to do exactly what you would expect me to do here. We just had an amazing week. 10-year, $5 billion Netflix deal. The Rock joining our board. Just sold out the Royal Rumble and put 48,000 people in Tropicana Field. I choose to focus on the positive. Yes, there is a negative. I want to focus on that and keep it to that. Then he was asked by Cameron Hawkins of The Ringer about what procedures are being put into place by WWE to ensure that employees are safe and feeling they are not being taken advantage of by people in power. And Levesque's response? He says, I'll give you the most generalized answer that I can. Everything possible. It's as simple as everything possible. I was face-palming so hard, by the way, through all of these answers, I almost left an imprint on my forehead. And then, in response to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, asking whether or not he had read the lawsuit, Levesque said, I did not. Cody mentioned it. We all found out in real time when you did. That's the truth. I'll go back to what I said before. It's an amazing week for us. I don't even want to get bogged down in the negatives of it. I just want to focus on the positives and where we are going. We are at the most exciting time of the year for us and the most exciting point to me, business-wise, that we have ever had. This is the equivalent of the kid sticking his fingers in his ears and singing la 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 because he doesn't want to hear the bad news. I'm shocked they didn't just cancel the press conference altogether. When I saw they were going ahead with it, I was very surprised. Now, I am sure that he was very limited in what he could say, even if he wanted to say something. He works for WWE, he works for TKO and Endeavor. He's going to be very limited in what he could say. It's an ongoing legal matter. I get all that. And it puts him in a very difficult spot because there are executives mentioned in the suit who are not named. Executive number 1, executive number 2, and so forth. They're not named yet anyway. They may yet be named, but they're not named yet. Who's to say that he's not one of those executives? We don't know. And he probably doesn't know either. So for all we know, he could end up having some exposure in all of this. That's on a professional level. On a personal level, this is the man's father-in-law that we're talking about here. He is married to the man's daughter. So I understand that he would rather be anywhere but in that room answering those questions at that exact moment. But he is also an officer of the company. Yes, it would have been more appropriate to ask those questions of Ari Emanuel or Nick Khan. But Ari Emanuel was not up there representing the company. Nick Khan was not up there representing the company. Paul Levesque was. And he had to know that these questions were coming. He was in a no-win situation regardless of what he said. But on the list of things he could have said, he chose the worst option, which made him come off as, honestly, dismissive of everything. Dismissive of these very serious allegations. Even if he didn't mean to be, that's exactly how it came off. Oh, we signed a $5 billion Netflix deal, guys. The Rock is back. The Rumble sold out. Come on, let's talk about the positives. You need to be able to read the room. And he ended up coming off completely tone deaf. Him saying that he had not read the lawsuit, I can believe that he didn't sit there and read through the entire 67-page complaint. But do I believe that he didn't read the key allegations in the Wall Street Journal or on any number of wrestling news websites that reported it, and that he wasn't aware of what was in the complaint? No, he's full of shit. Given the nature of the allegations, if for no other reason, I would think he would want to know about what this man was doing, supposedly, given that he is the grandfather of his children. What parent is going to ignore something like that and not want to know what the man is being accused of? The lawsuit also had a direct effect on the show because Brock Lesnar was going to be in the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar was not in the Royal Rumble because he was told to stay home, and the creative they had for him was canceled. You know who the head of creative is? Paul Levesque. So there's not a chance in the world he wasn't aware of the lawsuit because that lawsuit led directly to his own creative plans being changed. And if it wasn't his decision to change them, if it came from TKO, he's not a stupid person. He's going to be aware of what happened. He's going to want to know what the hell's going on here. So he knew. He may not have read the text messages and knew all the specifics of it, but he knew enough. As a PR professional, I always look at these things through a slightly different lens. And I feel like I have maybe a slightly different perspective on these things. How this should have been handled is you address it from the top. Right from the very beginning, from the moment he should have been the first person out there, not Cody or Bailey. It should have been Paul Levesque sitting down at that table first and foremost. And you address it from the top because you know it's coming. So instead of playing defense, you go on offense and you deal with it right from the start. And you make it very clear that, look, this is an ongoing legal matter. And there's not much else I can say about it at this time. I hope you understand. I am aware of it. It's a matter that's being taken very seriously, and I can't speak to anything beyond that. We have a group of talented men and women who worked their asses off tonight, and I am happy to answer any questions you have about that. That's it. That's all he had to do. He could have even referred people to the earlier statement that TKO put out. The fact that he didn't have any lawyers or PR people prepping him properly for this is just mind-boggling to me. Even that answer would not have satisfied everyone, but it would have been much better than the way he handled it.